We have new patch notes, January 9th, 2024. The Year of the Dragon seasonal event is here, and so are the promised Mauga changes. So, the fireworks and festivities for the Year of the Dragon begin. The Mischief and Magic prop hunt game mode has returned. Yay, exciting times on the Lijiang Night Market map. All new props for 𝐒𝐿𝐄𝐑 to transform into, and in addition, you get to celebrate your fan favorite Lunar New Year modes, including Capture the Flag and Bounty Hunter Blitz. Anyways, with the this out of the way, let's go straight into the patch notes. So for tank, Mauga base HP has been increased to 300. Armor has dropped from 250 to 200. That is interesting. So the chain guns have lost their ammo from 350 to 300. Cardiac overdrive lifesteal has been decreased from 70 to 60. Cooldown increased from 10 to 12. Man, this is brutal. Like, they really went hard for cardiac overdrive. 𝐒𝐻_FIGHT no longer grants infinite ammo. Wow, so that's great. That's a big nerf to 𝐒𝐻_FIGHT. Still reloads Mauga's chain guns at the start of the ultimate. So it just like, in theory, you have like a lot of ammo. Like, let's be realistic here, right? So this is like for those like very niche moments where the infinite ammo does come up, but this is like good. Like, you can still engage 𝐒𝐻, like, engage, like, apply a lot of pressure, 𝐒𝐻_FIGHT, keep that pressure coming, delete a tank and move on. That's probably going to be the only reason that Mauga gets picked, implying that the changes below aren't anything crazy. Oh, I saw Orisa for a second there. Hold on a minute. Berserker overhealth conversion rate decreased from 60 to 50%. Oh, yikes. Like, they went they went really hard to nerf Mauga out of existence. Okay, I don't see him being the meta tank anymore. Now, to be fair, he still has his damage, but honestly, survivability is kind of like very bad right now. These changes are actually crazy. Alec Dawson wasn't kidding when he said that they were going to go hard on him, so they did. Orisa augmented fusion driver removed the fall of damage penalty. We are never going to have a dive meta ever again. Like dive was meta once in 2016, and that's where they have left it. Like, we will never ever have a proper dedicated dive meta where, like, this is crazy. Like, we just moved away from an Orisa like character only to move back into Orisa, and she got another buff. Okay, we moved back into Orisa. The damage fall off has been removed. She's going to be lethal. Orisa might be pretty, like, I was actually thinking that if Mauga was the nerfed and Illari was buffed, like, most likely we'd go into a meta with Ramatra because his buffs were pretty good. But honestly, I'm reconsidering it because Orisa having no fall off damage is going to be pretty decent. I don't think she'll be that viable at the highest levels of play, but in the mid-tier to low elo, she's gonna become oppressive again, and oh my god, like, they just don't learn their lesson. Fortify now immune to taking forced critical hits. Fortify already prevented direct critical damage from headshots. So I assume this is like more of a quality of life buff, which was against like Mauga, because he could force critical hits on Orisa with his abilities. So this is mostly just against him, I believe, where, or I don't know, if you guys know any other interaction that could force a critical hit, let me know. I really cannot think on top of my head other than just Mauga, and guys, it's like 12 a.m. for me, so bear with me. Roadhog, okay, this is interesting, take a breather. I spoke about how to nerf Roadhog, so hopefully they did it the way I'd like. Total amount healed reduced from 500 to 450, okay, decent change. Cooldown between usages increased from 1 to 1.5. Okay, actually pretty good change. So they allow him to maintain his identity in being powerful up close, but they've definitely allowed the window to where you can now pressure him, like in between the take a breather phases. Much better now. So I would have liked it if this was just a flat 2 seconds, if I'm being honest with you. But I'm willing to experiment and see how this feels. Roadhog is a pretty strong tank, so a lot of that strength comes from just the amount of damage that he can put out. So until that gets addressed, I think Hog is actually going to be pretty decent pretty good actually. I think Hog is still pretty good. Like this nerf, it's nice. It'll allow him to get punished where he should be getting punished, but it'll allow Hog to be a good tank. So like maintain his current status is what I'm trying to say. Okay, damage. Oh, Sojourn and Sombra. Okay, so Railgun gradual energy no longer decays below 25%. Okay, so this is like quality of life change. Sojourn's pretty inconsistent nowadays. Just the whole game state has kind of evolved, and we are now in a state where, like just power creep. Like it's 12 a.m. I don't know what better way to explain it. Sojourn is pretty good. I will say that she's not that bad. So this is nice. This is like a nice little quality of life thing because like trying to maintain uptime with her like charged railgun shots can become a big problem, especially if you have to play passive. So nice that they're doing something like this. This is really nice. I think this is a very innovative change. I like it a lot. Sombra stealth grace period, where stealth can be cancelled immediately after entering it, increased from 0.5 to 0.75. Cooldown now pauses at 1 second while capturing and contesting objectives from 1.5 secs. And then cooldown on respawning decreased from 1.5 to 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna be real. Like I'm really tired and I really don't understand what these three changes are. If you guys can explain to me in the comments below, like is this a buff, is this a nerf, and why? Like I'd really appreciate it. I can't, like I can't. I'm too tired. Supports Ana. Oh, here we go. Biotic grenade effect duration reduced from 3.5 to 3 seconds. You know what's hilarious about this is like them doing something like this shows that they acknowledge that Ana's grenade is a problem, but this does not change anything. Like whether you increase the cooldown, whether you like mess with the duration, the initial first 2 seconds are the most important one for one tank to respond to an anti-tank and ruin their life and make it a living hell, right? Like this is them show like this is just like a hint from the development team that they've acknowledged Biotic Nade needs work. Remember when we got those weird Zenyatta orb changes that didn't make sense, and then we got the fundamental rework to Discord orb? I would like to have hope in the fact that I think in season 9 Biotic Grenade, the anti-effect will finally go away. I think this is like their last hope of them wanting to test how the 3 seconds in comparison to 3.5 feels. But I just don't think it's going to take away the frustrating like parts of it. And then, I mean, we will see. Because then, there's a whole other Pandora's box with, well, now Kiriko Suzu is kind of awkward, and there's a whole Pandora's box that I cannot be bothered to open right now. This change is pointless. It's a quote-unquote nerf, but it doesn't matter. The 0.5 seconds are like whatever, it still damages, shuts down the healing, it's still really strong. It's still one of the strongest support abilities in the game. I'm gonna save Illari for last, and I saw this one a little bit, so I was really surprised by this one. So Life Fever actually got a pretty decent buff. Now, Battle Platform no longer pierced by piercing projectiles. I don't understand like what projectile was piercing through it. Again, if you could tell me, I think maybe like I really don't know. Like I can't think of any projectile in the game that pierces other than Hanzo's Dragon Strike arrow that goes through walls. So if anybody can let me know down below. Again, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, 12 a.m. I cannot think on top of my head somebody that has a piercing projectile, quote unquote, that was interacting with Battle Platform in a weird way. So let me know. Nice, again, quality of life. It's a buff. Take it. It is what it is. This is interesting. So they actually want to increase the way his thorn volley feels. So the speed of the projectile has been increased from 70 to 80. This is increasing how fast the thorns are going to hit you in the face. I'm not going to lie, they're already feeling pretty good, but this is really crazy. Before we end the video, I want to try this change in particular. Now finally, the final change, Illari Solo Rifle primary fire charge gain can no longer be paused by your secondary fire nor channeling Captain. This is amazing. This is a quality of life change that helps her feel more consistent. I really like this. Ammo increase from 14 to 16. It wasn't necessary, but I'm willing to take it. It doesn't mess with her, projectile size and everything, so gives her more shots to take and allows her to feel more consistent and less clunky. This is a really good change. Thumbs up. It doesn't really go into the aspects of what made it frustrating. helps the hero feel more fluid, and they did the same with Life Fever, so I'm always willing to take changes like this. Captive Sun now fully refills your secondary fire resource and resets the overheated status, and remove the damage fall off penalty on the Sunstroke explosion. So if I'm not, so first of all, this first change is a buff, and then this is also a buff. I think this second one for Captive Sun is a massive buff. If I'm not mistaken, again, correct me in the comments down below. I want to talk about the second change first. So for Captive Sun, the remove the damage fall off penalty on Sunstroke explosion. This means that basically if you like, if somebody else is like, you're in the radius and the Sunstruck effect like triggers and that person explodes and you're in the radius, that means you will take the full damage, like the 100 plus damage too, right? If I'm not mistaken. Like, so it's become a more lethal ult because there's so much stuff in the game that counters Captive Sun. Like, I really like Captive Sun. I think they did a great job in balancing it. So let's see how she feels. I play a lot of Illari, so definitely keep an eye out for Illari content and Illari videos. I really enjoy playing her. Don't know about this. I don't think this was necessary for the Suns, ultimate, but willing to take it. Like, willing to try it, willing to take it, and let's see what happens. Captive Sun now fully fills the secondary resource and resets overheat status. So this allows again a lot more uptime for her healing, and you can do some shenanigans like push hard with your pylon and your right click, and then like Sunstruck, and then go back to pocketing, and these changes like kind of put together, it actually buffs her ability to have her healing uptime, so that's not bad. But I would approach it slightly differently. Regardless, I'm willing to try out this patch. Now, I spoke about all these characters from an individualistic perspective. I am really, really scared about the Orisa changes, right? I was under the initial impression that we'd be going into a Ramatra meta, and I still think that potentially we'll slide into a weird Ram, Orisa, Roadhog being the top 3 tanks, maybe. Because I really feel like people are underestimating the fact that Orisa has just lost her damage fall off completely. Again, I hope I'm not mistaken about this, right? And we also did get a lot of buffs to like poke, like Illari has been buffed, and she plays in poke comps. And what is it, like Sojourn got a quality of life change, so it's good. Like this season, like the second half of this season is going to be a pretty good head-to-head battle between poke and brawl comps. Like, I don't think there's a definitive comp. I think it'll be a little bit map dependent. But I would say keep an eye on Orisa. She is going to be pretty crazy. Now, before we end the video, there's some things that I just want to get a feel for myself. Gonna jump into the practice range real quick. I just want to see how Life Fever's Thorn Volley feels. Personally, myself, just want to get a feel on how that thing feels. So here we go, Life Fever, new patch Life Fever, and oh lord, that's pretty quick. Now, of course, these are just like standing AFK bots, but this feels pretty nice. Also, if I'm not mistaken, did they increase the bloom? Like, and within this weapon, this weapon on this skin, was the Thorn Volley always pink? Yeah, I think they were, right? Or did they change the colors a little bit? Oh no, I think they increased the bloom just a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see it. Or maybe I'm finally losing it. I'm going insane. Let's get a feel for Honor real quick. It's barely noticeable. That's legit barely noticeable. Doesn't matter. It's like what? Like, this is barely noticeable. It's not even a nerf. It's like it'll go under the radar. Illari, we don't need to test. I don't think there's any other hero we need to test. Orisa. I kind of want to see how she feels from long range when you're firing away. Oh my goodness. Again, I know these are bots, but just look at how much damage she can do from so far away without the fall off. Like, that's actually crazy. Obviously, like when there's going to be healing and everything, things will be a little bit more different. But I really, really think we shouldn't sleep on Orisa because she still has her amazing cooldown cycle. Like, look at that, the Fortify, the Javelin Spin, the Javelin Throw. And then, like, obviously in a game you're going to use them like smartly and properly, and then like with still the high healing in the game, you'll be very you'll survive very comfortably and be able to take fights. Also, I just remembered there were some changes that came to Orisa where like didn't they didn't they do the thing where they, if I'm not mistaken, again, you can correct me in the comments down below, I've been saying that a lot this video, but didn't they buff Orisa from that POV where if she shoots, they reduce the movement penalty? Before, she was a little bit more slower. I haven't played Orisa that much, but I could have sworn the last few times I was playing her, she felt slower. But now she's so fast, like, really worried about going into an Orisa meta. Like, I would rather play a Ramantra meta or a brawl-based meta without, you know, Mauga in it, obviously, then run into another poke situation with Orisa. I don't know. We will see, guys. That's going to be it for this video. Just a quick patch notes review. Tier list coming tomorrow, so I know everybody loves tier list. Keep an eye out for that. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video.